And of course, in a bit, you'll be able to call in to tell us what's on your plate today. The number to do so is 452-3046. That's our direct line number, 452-3046. You also have the option of messaging in via our WhatsApp, and that is on 284-6001. You can call, you can message in, especially if you're overseas. It's a good way to connect with us. The number being 284-6001. A look back in time on this day. In the year 1786, a landslide dam on the Dadu River, caused by an earthquake 10 days earlier, collapsed and killed 100,000 people in Sichuan province in China. 1898 on this day, U.S. Marines land in Cuba during the Spanish-American War. 1916 on this day, June the 10th, the Hashemite-led Arabs of the Hijaz rose up against the ruling Ottoman Empire in the Great Arab Revolt of World War I. 1963 on this day, the U.S. Equal Pay Act was signed into law by President John F. Kennedy. 1977, Apple Computer shipped its first Apple II computers. And in 2003 on this day, the Spirit rover was launched, beginning NASA's Mars Exploration Rover mission. We now move on to our dish of the day. And welcome back to our program here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. I hope, of course, that we're all having a pretty good one. And just another reminder for those who are interested in Carnival and understanding the context and value of Carnival, an event being put on by the Carnival Planning Management Committee, the CPMC. And they are putting on l'Histoire Carnaval, it's called. And that event happening today. To take in that story, just to very quickly give it to you, as has been captured on the St. Lucia Times, l'Histoire Carnaval is marking its second year as a key event during the St. Lucian Carnival, giving people a place to reflect, talk, and explore culture together. The event will take place on Wednesday, June the 10th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at the Harbor Club. This year's theme is Rhythm, Language, and Identity. Does our music define us? The discussion will examine how the St. Lucian music landscape has shaped the national identity, tracing its journey from traditional folk and calypso to soca and the Dennery segment unique to St. Lucia. Particular attention will be given to the role of Creole in musical expression and the ways in which music functions as a vehicle for storytelling that further leads to cultural preservation, says the Carnival Planning and Management Committee. St. Lucian scholar Dr. Ronald T. Francis, who teaches linguistics at the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill campus, will give the main presentation. Francis has a PhD in linguistics and focuses on Atlantic Creoles, applied and corpus linguistics, and world Englishes. His research examines social justice, discrimination, and cultural attitudes, especially in St. Lucian popular music. After the lecture, a panel of artists, producers, cultural workers, and industry leaders will discuss the theme further. There will also be a chance for the audience to join in and share ideas. As Carnival continues to evolve, l'Histoire Carnaval provides an important space to ask deeper questions about St. Lucia's cultural identity, the organizers said. It affirms that Carnival is not only something to be celebrated, but also something to be studied, documented, and thoroughly understood. That story coming from Josiah St. Luce of the St. Lucia Times, available online. So certainly we want to encourage individuals to take up that opportunity in respect of this dialogue that is going to be coming on today, this evening, up at the Harbor Club. And very important indeed, because quite often music and culture, it's something that we just do, and we sometimes don't look at how it actually evolves and how it actually grows and what happens. We tend to think of it as something that is potentially very organic. But there are quite often some foundational factors that go into creating this type of reality. And a lot of it, of course, we know is mimicry and persons passing on traditions from what we saw in the past. And we've seen that in the case of masquerade and what's happening there. We've seen, of course, the evolution of Carnival into today, what of course some may characterize as bacchanal, and what that means, the sort of the importation of maybe the more Brazilian style of Carnival, which has had influences on places like Trinidad, and then onward influences right here into the Caribbean, as well as now exploding around the world. And you can look at so many different Caribbean countries in the world right now, and they're all trying to replicate now a Caribbean style parade, a Caribbean style opportunity. Of course, very early entrance into that effort, the likes of Caribana in Toronto, and Labor Day over in New York, Notting Hill Carnival over in London. But even beyond those country centers and global centers, the likes of Miami and Atlanta and even Dallas and Houston and many other places are trying to create that replica of a Caribbean style carnival. And so the context is very important to appreciate, and of course the big question, what are we bringing as a unique aspect to the celebration? With every single island and country in the Caribbean now doing some form of carnival, even those who did not have a tradition of it, the likes of Jamaica, for example, they have, in the month of May, have taken on their own form of a carnival as well. And over in Guyana, quite recently, they were doing another similar type of independence parade. Again, similar kind of tradition trying to be portrayed there. And so the question is, how do countries distinguish themselves from other countries? And that has to be grounded in quite often the music, and of course the traditions that may be unique in the particular country. In the case of Grenada, for example, the tradition of jab jab and the use of oil and the covering of the bodies shows a particular aspect of that tradition. And Haiti, for example, has a wealth of different masquerade traditions, inclusive of things like the jab jab, which we see over in Grenada. And so when you see those things, you get a sense that quite often there's some very deep historical connections that in fact exist across all of these islands that go pretty far back in the celebration of masquerade. And, many times you hear about the history of Carnival in St. Lucia, and you sometimes believe that it really only started maybe somewhere in the 1980s in the 1950s, in the post-World War II period, when there was an effort by the likes of the Walcott brothers, Roddy Walcott in particular, in this pursuit. But it certainly is something that, in the case of St. Lucia, has deeper roots than that, and something that was actually a tradition which we still saw in our masquerade, which we actually mark more in around the Christmas era, Christmas season. But that's definitely a major aspect of Carnival. And for all you know, I'm not sure if that's how it was, but maybe the Christmas time was the start of the Carnival season, heading into February. But certainly there are records of Carnival existing in St. Lucia going back into the even the 1800s, and quite possibly even further back. So we do hope that a lot of people can take up this opportunity to listen to Mr. Francis and to be part of that conversation. Now, we want to touch on as well, for our dish of the day, the matter of public transport. And it has become very topical as a result of the rise in gas prices. And perhaps people might be thinking of, do I necessarily have to drive today? Maybe I might be able to take a bus or a public transport offering that is available here in St. Lucia. And we know that quite often St. Lucians who head across to New York, and they may go to London, and they may go to other places around the world, and they will in fact utilize public transit, whether it might be a bus or a train or metro service, to be able to get around. And so, of course, the question is, why is it that we can use it in other places, but we may not necessarily use it here? And no doubt the response from many is going to be, well, it's the quality of the service. And that is true, because there are differing levels of service. Even if you go in the United States, for example, you might look at a place like Miami, for instance, and it's not going to have as good a public transport network as New York. And that, of course, hints to something in terms of the differing approaches towards being able to get around. Well, that matter, of course, is and has been topical for a long time here. And there have been efforts to look at changing the public transport system here in St. Lucia and to make improvements to it. And we've heard all of the various things that are lacking, the absence of maybe scheduled bus services, certainly being one of them, the frequency and regularity of buses, especially when it comes to after hours and getting into certain parts of the country. We know that maybe after 5 o'clock, you probably can't get a bus down to Canaries or Soufrière. It is very challenging for a number of people to be able to depend on the public transport system. And so, no doubt, the need for reform has been identified, and even in terms of the infrastructure that supports such a system being very important. The, of course, very Castries-centric system does not have any kind of central bus terminals as we would even have available and witness in a neighboring Martinique or in a Grenada or in Port of Spain, Trinidad, or in Barbados, where there are two very well-defined bus terminals in Bridgetown, and Grenada as well, very well-defined bus terminal there. And so the need for infrastructure has also been one of the cries in this sector. Well, there was a statement coming out of the Prime Minister on the matter recently at the Prime Minister's, the pre-cabinet press briefing on Monday, and it's captured in a story from the St. Lucia Daily Post, which the headline reads, PM Pierre admits bus reform could cost votes as government moves to fix St. Lucia's transport crisis. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre has openly acknowledged that fixing St. Lucia's troubled public transportation system could come at a significant political cost, but insists the government can no longer ignore the growing challenges facing commuters and transport operators. Speaking on recommendations emerging from a recent Caribbean Development Bank CDB study, Pierre revealed the difficult balancing act between implementing expert-driven reforms and managing the political realities that come with major policy changes. Quote, but reports have political repercussions, Pierre said. The Prime Minister explained that while technical experts often provide recommendations grounded in research, legislation, and data, they do not always account for the electoral consequences governments may face when putting these recommendations into practice. Quote, when you speak about these reports, you must realize and remember that they are being prepared by technocrats, not prepared by politicians, and some politicians cannot always follow what technocrats say, he stated. Pierre further noted that many of the solutions proposed by experts may be logical and effective on paper, but can trigger public backlash if they negatively affect large sections of the population. Quote, sometimes technocrats do not think about votes, he remarked, adding that any politician who claims they are unconcerned about winning elections is simply not being truthful. To underscore the political risks involved in difficult policy decisions, Pierre referenced the experience of late Barbadian Prime Minister Sir Lloyd Erskine Sandiford, who opted to reduce public sector salaries rather than devalue the Barbados dollar during an economic crisis. While the decision helped stabilize the economy, it ultimately contributed to his electoral defeat. Quote, sometimes if you feel strongly about something, regardless of political repercussions, you will take it. That happened in St. Lucia to a certain extent, Pierre said. Despite those concerns, the Prime Minister signaled that transportation reform remains firmly on the government's agenda. He disclosed that Minister for Transport Stevenson King will provide further details on the findings and recommendations contained in the CDB study. Pierre also announced that the upcoming national budget will include funding aimed at modernizing and centralizing bus terminals across the island. The investment is expected to address long-standing inefficiencies within the transport network while improving commuter experiences. A key priority, according to the Prime Minister, is tackling the chronic shortage of late-night transportation, a problem that frequently leaves hospitality workers stranded after shifts, particularly those traveling to rural communities. The comments come amid increasing pressure from the National Council on Public Transportation, the NCOPT, which has intensified calls for a modern, data-driven formula to define and determine bus fares. The organization argues that the long-standing practice of simply adding 25 cents or $1 to existing rates whenever operating costs increase is no longer sustainable, particularly in the face of rising fuel prices and mounting expenses for minibus operators. While Pierre confirmed that the CDB study examined the possibility of implementing a structured fare-setting formula, he stressed that the report goes far beyond fare adjustments and addresses wider issues affecting the future of public transportation in St. Lucia. As debate over transport reforms intensifies, Pierre's remarks highlight a challenge facing governments across the region: how to implement necessary but potentially unpopular reforms while maintaining public support and delivering meaningful improvements for citizens. And that piece coming from the St. Lucia Daily Post. Of course, an insight into the difficult situation that politicians and prime ministers find themselves into in dealing with significant changes and reforms that quite often may face opposition for their implementation. Now, of course, one of the things that is very evident, and we've spoken about it, is that the bus system here in St. Lucia is, of course, a privately held enterprise. And that is to say, just to give me 1 second here, and that is to say that we have effectively every bus owned by a particular individual bus driver. In some instances, of course, there are some individuals who own more than one at a time. And so, of course, that is where you may have situations where maybe one owner owns 10 buses, but that's not necessarily the norm. Generally speaking, one bus operator owns maybe 1 or 2 buses at most. That's what it would tend to probably average out. And so when you look at that pool of 1,300 or so operators, they, of course, create a block. And that block is quite often looked at, when you look at a number of these various sectors, it's a constituency, so to speak, a small constituency. Just like fishermen would be a small constituency, or vendors may be another small constituency, or teachers may be a small constituency. And so the implications in terms of dealing with some of these constituencies is that sometimes they vote en masse, or they vote in a particular direction, because they quite often have a representative union where their interests are brought forward. And so the situation in respect of getting everybody on the same page has been part of that challenge in terms of providing a public transport system. It's very easy for if you had one operator, and that one operator can therefore design out an entire route, and they can optimize exactly how many buses they need on which route, and they can get to a point where they know how they're going to shift buses around if needs be, right? If there's an increase in demand here, they can shift things. It gives a greater level of flexibility and an opportunity to control pricing in a different way as well. You would quite often see, of course, in many countries, you have a single price for a trip, even if that trip means that you've got to interconnect to another route, right? So you've got a lot of interconnecting points. So for argument's sake, maybe to get to Castries from Debarra, in the case of St. Lucia, you may have an interconnecting point maybe in Babonneau, or maybe another one in Choc. But that doesn't matter. You still end up getting charged a single rate on the route. And so a lot of these sophistications, it's very difficult to design when you're dealing with 1,300 separate operators. And so the big question is, how then do you deal with that constituency of that block of private operators in the circumstance of trying to develop and design a better transport network? One of the areas, of course, that clearly is impacting us right now is the matter of the gas prices. And as much as, of course, we know that we're not the highest right now, there are countries that have higher gas price gas prices. And a lot of times the countries that have high gas prices do a certain level of cross-subsidy, a cross-subsidization of their public transport system from the add-ons that they may be putting on for gas for the average user. And the reason for that is that they may want to subsidize the operations of public transport so that it can become more affordable. And that, of course, has two principally good benefits. One, because invariably you are assisting individuals who may be in a lower income bracket. But two, you're also ensuring that you're providing a better quality of service, a more reliable service, and that may require additional investment that you may not necessarily come normally, and you may be able to keep the price point to an area where you still are protecting the interest of those who may not have. For example, in the case of, let's say, Barbados, you have a system where senior citizens can travel free on the public transport system. So those types of arrangements can be achieved when you have some level of subsidy provided to the public transport system. But the question is, how do you fund that subsidy? And quite often it comes from a tax on the general broader transport system, inclusive, of course, of private car operators and others who are in that mix. So you look at a country, well, if you want to call it a country or a province of Hong Kong. Hong Kong, of course, is now a part of mainland China, but that country, that province, has a very well developed public transport system, but it can do so in like measure because the cost of the fuel and the cost of even purchasing a car in Hong Kong is made deliberately very high. And that is something that would perhaps very much even scare the average St. Lucian as to how expensive gas is in Hong Kong. I mean, it's looking at the figure, and I still don't even want to believe that it is in fact so high, because I'm seeing here that the price of a gallon of gas is $125 per gallon, EC dollars per gallon. So, I mean, you just have to see the extent at which they go to be able to make it more difficult for people to own a car, right? And there's good reason for that too. It's a very small country, relatively speaking, very large population, millions of people, 5 million people or thereabouts. And you don't want to have 5 million people on the road. And so it's a deliberate effort in their part to, in fact, make it expensive for somebody to be able to own and operate a vehicle. But the trade-off for that is that there's a very, very good public transport system, highly reliable, with lots of different options there. And that's how they, in fact, deal with it. And of course, the benefit of public transport is that it's simply more cost-effective. Certainly more cost-effective moving 15 persons in a vehicle, in one vehicle, compared to one or two. And it's certainly even better if you were moving 20 or 30 in a vehicle compared to, one or two or three. So certainly that's the benefit of the system, of having a good public transport system. And countries all around the world at some point have to make a decision in terms of the direction that they're going into. Unfortunately, perhaps we adopted the US model, which is one where the automobile, the private car, is the single most important entity. And then, of course, the reality is that in the case of St. Lucia, we're dealing with a different topography, We're dealing with different road network, whereas in the United States, you've got lots of flat land, you've got lots of wide lanes and lots of areas to build very nice road networks. It's not quite the same here in St. Lucia. The cost of infrastructure, putting in those roads, is many times more per mile than what exists in the United States of America. And so that is also part of the challenge that we have to deal with as a small island developing state. So definitely the need to tackle public transport. We've been hearing about these things for many decades now. It's not been anything new. It's perhaps since the 80s and 90s, the desire to be able to have a better public transport system in St. Lucia, and we still have certainly a long way to go. So let's hope that we don't go into another decade before we see some meaningful change in this all too critical sector. That is our dish of the day. And when we come back, we'll be taking in our weather report.
This has been The Daily Dish.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with these tile stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my #1 store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous tiles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and Vieux Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
A company that you can trust withstood the test of time, providing the best quality so you can have peace of mind, building the community one day at a time. In the products that we offer, you guarantee to find strength and security and affordability for the latest technology. You can count on Caribbean Metals. You covered. Caribbean Metals, better value for your money. Caribbean Metals, satisfaction guaranteed. Caribbean Metals, you know we've got you covered. Guaranteed.
You thought it was a one-time thing? Well, Soca Stars is back again. The hottest stage for up-and-coming Soca Stars with live vibes, pure energy, and fans to turn up the heat. Soca Stars, get ready. The grand prize is $5,000 cash and a $10,000 production package. Register now to compete. Sign up early at peterbear.com or come in early at the venue. This is your shot at stardom.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And good afternoon, and we're going to bring you the 12 noon weather report for 10th June 2026, and the forecaster Venantius Descott. Present weather at Hewanor Airport, partly cloudy and hazy. Present weather at GFL Charles, also partly cloudy and hazy. Present temperature at Hewanor Airport, 31 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Last night's minimum temperature at Hewanor was 27 degrees Celsius or 81 degrees Fahrenheit. The relative humidity at Hewanor Airport, 72%. Winds at Hewanor Airport blowing from the east at 23 miles per hour or 37 kilometers per hour. Rainfall in the 24-hour period that ended at 8 a.m. today. Hewanor nil, GFL Charles Airport nil. Total rainfall thus far for the month of June. Hewanor 6.4 millimeters and GFL Charles 9.6 millimeters. Today's sunset is at 6:31 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow at 5:35 a.m. The forecast valid for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from the east near 21 miles per hour or 33 kilometers per hour. The weather is partly cloudy and breezy, becoming cloudy at times with a few showers. The marine forecast for seas in a 25-mile or 40-kilometer radius from St. Lucia. Tides for Castries Harbor high at 12:08 p.m., low at 4:57 p.m. VA4 Bay high at 1:15 p.m. and low at 6:24 p.m. Seas are moderate with waves 4 to 6 feet or 1.2 to 1.8 meters. The forecast for the Lesser Antilles, partly cloudy and breezy, becoming cloudy at times with a few showers. And the tropical weather outlook. The Atlantic high-pressure system will generate moderate to brisk easterly winds over the Lesser Antilles during the forecast period. A tropical wave moving westward across the Lesser Antilles is causing some brief showers, mainly over the southern Windward Islands. Two other tropical waves are located over the central and eastern tropical Atlantic and are moving westward near 17 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour. Tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the tropical Atlantic during the next 7 days. And that has been a look at the 12 noon weather report for the 10th of June 2026. As I mentioned, the forecaster Venantius Descott, and that has been brought to you through the St. Lucia Meteorological Services.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
And welcome back to our program here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. We've got about 16 minutes to go before the hour of 2 o'clock. And of course, it's now the time for you to be able to call in to tell us what's on your plate. And that number, 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. That's our mainline number here, as well as our WhatsApp number, 284-6001. So we're going to try to go ahead across to take in our first call for the day at this time. Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom. What's on your plates today?
Hey, Cody. Good afternoon. Miguel Savory here.
Hi, how are you doing, Miguel?
I'm good, my brother. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
I caught the tail end of your discussion about the transportation system.
Yes.
But you would do know, as virtue of my former job, I would have known that there was a review being done.
That's right.
Undertaken by, I think the World Bank was the one who financed it. I'm not sure. I think that the consultants would have completed by now. I'm not sure where it is at this moment.
Yes, they have. They have. I think it was the Caribbean Development Bank.
CDB, right?
Yes.
CDB, right?
And
right.
a sustainable public transport study.
Right.
I think it was called.
Right.
Yes.
But I join you in saying, it's I hope that we do actually see something within the next 10 years, and we understand the real complications. The idiosyncrasies related to the transport system. At this point, even our current providers refuse to, even having discussions with them, they refuse to embrace the whole idea of a cashless system. Excuse me. Even though you explain the benefits to them. But
well, I'm not sure, because I know that the president, Mr. Godfrey Ferdinand, has spoken on numerous occasions in respect of this introduction of a cashless system. But I don't know if there's internal opposition to it, maybe on the part of...
Yeah, that's why I'm not talking about the association themselves. I'm talking about the drivers themselves at that level. They are the ones, when you have discussions with them at the ground level, they are the ones who are opposed to the cashless system. Yeah, so a lot of them. But, it takes a lot of educating because, at this point we have bus drivers, the majority of them don't even pay NIC. And we saw the fallout from that during the COVID period when NIC was paying unemployment benefits to those who were affected by COVID. I remember the drivers were on rotation during that period. And, it only cost them $50 a month, yet they were unable to get any compensation from the NIC due to the fact that they don't pay. So, a cashless system can cover all these things without they themselves having to go to NIC on a monthly basis to pay it in and that kind of thing. Right. But I actually was calling my capacity as information officer at NEMO.
Okay, sure. Yes,
right.
We are in the season.
Yes, we are.
Everybody looks to NEMO to make sure that we are prepared.
Of course, and part of that preparedness would be our Ziploc Drive, Community Ziploc Drive initiative, Ziploc Bag Drive. Sorry, where we are we're going to the various the 18 districts on St. Lucia, disaster districts,
right?
On St. Lucia, and we are having a twofold thing. We're having basically a town hall meeting. We answer any questions as it relates to our operations, and of course we give a presentation on disaster preparedness and a briefing about what NEMO actually does, aside from the whole disaster preparedness, the whole mass crowd event approval and that kind of thing. So far we started in V4 North, we moved to Babonneau, and we were in Chosa last Wednesday. So tonight we will be in Mico North at the former Monrepo Combined School at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And tomorrow night at Castries East at the Romanus Lantico Human Resource Center.
Formerly the Entrepot Human Resource Center.
Yes, formerly the Entrepot Human Resource Center.
Okay.
But what I should note is that we've changed it up a bit from tonight because we are aware of the water situation that we've been experiencing the past few weeks. And Monrepo, Mico North being one of those communities that are severely affected by water shortages. What we are going to do, in addition to, of course, NEMO paraphernalia and the Ziploc bags to protect your important documents from flood, we will be distributing, thanks to an international partner, an international donor, we will be distributing 5-gallon water bladders. So they're basically plastic. Well, you would know what that is. Plastic. They're usually flat. You fill it up with water and then it expands. But it holds 5 gallons. So we will be distributing those tonight at Monrepo. But I'd also like to thank once again Elder Josephson and the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, who donated the Ziploc bags and has continued to support and be present at every one of our community meetings so far.
Right.
But I have to say with immense pleasure, Calixte, that our outreach and calls for corporates in Lucia to get involved in the country's disaster preparedness and education efforts, Sagicor and Blue Waters have committed to supporting our Ziploc bag initiative and to be long-term partners of NEMO.
Okay.
So, that I believe is exemplary of these corporate entities.
Well, both players, I can understand why they're interested in this one for sure. Insurance as well as water. They all have a part to play in it.
And
yes.
funnily, I think Sagicor came on board after our Babonneau visit, where the MP, Honorable John Estefan, did mention the need for insurance. And I think it's not only insurance of properties, because we do know the complications that if you own a wooden home and that kind of thing, the complications is getting insured. But your personal effects, certain things that are valuable and cannot be replaced or irreplaceable and that kind of thing, it's important that you can ensure those things.
Right.
So, with that, I believe it's exemplary of these corporate entities, and I'll just take the opportunity to ask the rest of the private sector to follow their lead. After all, the hurricane season, for example, while it may not threaten the brick and mortar part of their business, the building or the infrastructure, when private individuals are adversely affected by the passage of a storm or even flooding, that's either an affected member of staff or customer base, and the spilloff effects need not be said. So I'd like to thank you so much for your time, and just to remind the folks of Micoud North, we will be at the Old Monipo Combined School tonight, and tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at the
Human
Resource Center.
Very well. And I think you're going to be having quite a number more of these events, you said, because you need to go to all 18.
We're going through all 18 districts.
Okay.
We will be doing grocery last. I will send you an update maybe tomorrow. The list of the areas will be visited. We had to review just because the Prime Minister's constituency was not supposed to be done tomorrow, but because of his schedule and his availability, we try to get it done. Because as you've realized, there seems to be a healthy competition between all MPs now when it comes to all activities, whether it be jazz or sporting events, because they've been showing up at all our outreach programs so far. Initiatives so far.
Okay, well that's good to know, and certainly. We hope that NEMO continues to do the good work in terms of national preparedness. Albeit, we could be. This is a time when we can get very comfortable because I know and complacent, and we've heard that somebody said we were expecting a lower than normal season, and so maybe we may think, oh, that's great. We won't see. It could be our turn, even in that.
But that said, Curly, I must say, I will quote my director in that because she has noted it, that especially maybe last year, within the last few seasons, especially last season, the public has paid a lot more attention, and they've sought the official sources from NEMO and the Met Office, and they've been actively paying attention and aware. We haven't got this whole idea of complacency as yet. We've been getting calls, to verify things that are out there. So I must say kudos to St. Lucia. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but then if my director has noted it,
right,
it is something of significance, and it should be noted by the wider public. So to ask us that I just ask the public that, continue, that we don't be complacent, and it's not only hurricanes. When we think of hazards, natural hazards, we don't think of hurricanes. During the hurricane season, we might very well be hit with even a drought or, worse yet, an earthquake or tsunami. So these are things. So this underscores the importance for us to always be prepared and know our various family emergency plans and business emergency plans.
Well said. Thanks so very much for that, Mr.
Thank you
Miguel
for your
Favre. Communications Officer at the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, and of course indicating there tonight an event over at the former Monrepo School for the constituency of Micoud North, and tomorrow night in Castries East at the Romanus Lancico Entrepot Human Resource Center, and both of those happening from 7 o'clock. Let's take another call at this time. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Good afternoon, Mr. George.
How are you doing, sir?
Not too bad.
Okay, wonderful. Good.
Right. What we're going to transport now? Yeah. The cash left.
Sorry, I didn't catch what you just said.
I say car theft.
Car theft?
Traveling. You could buy a ticket. You travel on the train as well.
Okay, I just heard the train as well. I didn't hear anything you said before that, caller. Yes.
I said, if you're living in London,
yes,
you'll buy a ticket that'll last you for 1 month.
Ah, yes.
And you travel on the buses with it.
Yes.
You travel on the train with it.
Right.
And if you're going outside London, you travel with it. But once you reach outside London, you pay the extra.
Okay.
Like you're going to Dover.
Right.
Or Portsmouth.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a distance. The conductor and the bus or the train know exactly where to charge you from, because you have to pay some more because your freedom tax just cover you for the London area.
Okay, right. Yes.
And if you go to Paris, when you reach Paris, it's the same thing. You go to the depot, the bus depot, and you buy £2 or £3 card.
Right.
So you give the price, you give the driver, and he takes the card. You have the card, a pilot card, and you take the card that will worth the distance you travel. Yeah, it's very, very easy. The freedom card, the government issue you that. They have them in all paper shop. You go there, you take a form, you fill it in, and they give you your freedom pass. So, transport in St. Lucia, so they don't pay all for it. The government don't pay all, but the government could pay something to people.
Yes, indeed. Thanks very much for sharing that, caller. And I know that there are some very good St. Lucians in the diaspora who work for many of these transport agencies, whether it's MTA in New York. I know somebody else who's working for Transport for London. And so we have some expertise that potentially could be called upon to provide some level of support as well in terms of fashioning what is possible. But definitely the need for better systems for ticketing and offering these types of options would have to happen. But and I think too the big issue, I would say, caller, is how to integrate the existing operators into a more integrated system. Right, and I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe this may or may not work, but I think there's a need to actually create a single entity, a company, and possibly allow for those current operators to, in fact, get dividends or to get shares in that company, if you like. Right, so they become shareholders.
Definitely.
So they in a lot of
in there.
And then other people could also put your shares into it as well. But so create a shareholding company, a public company, and allow that then to be a means by which a person who may be a driver right now or current operator, they can get into that based on maybe the value of what they have, right? And they can drive. They can get into the business of driving, right? For example, as an employee of that company, but as well they may be able to gain dividends from the company. So it's a situation where they, that there's a system where they can benefit in two ways. Sorry?
No shame. I said copying is no shame. So if we go with a lot of.
Okay, Cole, I think we lost you there. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Go ahead.
So we are two parts now. Okay?
Oh, I lost you, caller. We didn't hear what you said. But okay, all right then. Take care. Thanks very much for that contribution, caller. Just very quickly, a bit of information coming from the Department of Commerce. And they're announcing the much-anticipated introduction of the Micro, Small, and Medium-Sized Enterprise MSME Grant Facility, yet another targeted capacity-building intervention designed to improve the overall competitiveness of local businesses. The support measure builds on the operational framework, assessment criteria, and fiduciary arrangements successfully applied under the previous MSME loan grant facility, with minor adjustments to ensure more timely project execution and maximum impact. In its current formulation, The facility aims to provide access to $1 million EC in grant funding only. In other words, there is no loan component to productive sectors. As such, the department hereby issues an initial call for applications for the newly reconfigured MSME grant facility to run from today, Wednesday, the 10th of June 2026 at 8 a.m. to Tuesday, June the 30th, 2026 at 12 noon. Applications may be downloaded from the website, and that is sites.google.com/commerce.govt.lc//sedu/home. Of course, this is also available online if you want to get it, and submitted physically to our office on the 5th floor of the Conway Business Center, Castries Waterfront, or the Southern Division of the Department of Commerce located on the 3rd floor of the Upton Business Center on New Dock Road, Vieux-Fort. The application form must be completed with original signature and submitted with a business plan that includes financial projections. Only one application per person is permitted. An individual or entity may only benefit from the grant facility once. However, beneficiaries of the previous MSME loan grant facility may apply. Applicants must be St. Lucian nationals aged 31 and above. Supporting documents including a copy of a valid form of ID, proof of address, such as a utility bill, quotations or pro forma invoices, and relevant company documents, industry licenses, and certificates must be provided. Additionally, applicants must adhere to the program's monitoring requirements if successful. Prospective businesses may qualify for up to $10,000 EC dollars, while businesses in existence for no more than 2 years can seek up to $15,000 EC dollars in funding. Businesses in existence for over 2 years can access up to $15,000 EC dollars. The minimum amount of grant funding available is $3,000. Priority areas include manufacturing, like agribusiness, agri-processing, agribusiness, agro-tourism, food and beverage, and services such as ICT and professional services, green and climate resilient businesses, and community-based retailers. Accommodation and non-profit businesses do not qualify under this facility. Eligible use of funds include equipment upgrade, modernization and spare parts, automation, including computers and laptops, food safety, standard certifications and regulations, the purchase of raw materials, direct supplies, and promotional material, obtaining technical assistance, facilitating product and service development, retrofitting premises for standardization, accessing training programs that benefit the business, packaging and design, applied duties, including VAT, HSL, and service charge, and port charges incurred by applicants under the previous MSME loan grant facility. Ineligible use of funds include the purchase of items for resale or consumables, payment of overheads such as salaries, rent, and utilities, personal use, travel costs, interest owed on outstanding loans, tax arrears, debts, and provision for losses or debts, items already financed by another framework, and sponsorships, acquisition of motor vehicles for general use, and building expansions. Those are things that are ineligible for use of funds. Grant funding must be used exclusively for approved activities and expenditures outlined in the application guidelines and grant agreement. All recipients will be subject to a robust monitoring and evaluation process to ensure accountability, transparency, and effective use of public resources. Periodic site visits and product assessments will be conducted throughout the implementation of the program. These visits will verify project progress, confirm that funded purchases and activities have been completed as approved, and evaluate the impact of the investment. The Department of Commerce encourages all eligible MSMEs with growth-oriented projects to review the guidelines carefully and submit completed applications within the prescribed deadline. And for more information, contact the Department of Commerce's Small Business Development Center, SBDC, at 468-4241. Again, 468-4241 or 468-4223. 468-4223. That coming from the Department of Commerce, their reinitiated MSME grant facility, open now up until June the 30th. So an opportunity there if you are so interested. Well, that's all the time we have today for our program of the Lunchroom. And of course, we thank you for listening in, for calling in. Of course, thanks to Play on the Console for joining us here. And we do hope that you can join us again tomorrow for another program of the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. Take care. Have a good one.
Number one FM.
Domino's Pizza rich, boy. Not a piece goes to waste. Cause we all love the taste. And you can be the flavor of the Domino's Pizza. Service, price, and delivery. The best in the country. So stick with the taste that you know. Pizza from Domino's. Domino's Pizza, the best pizza you had. Caribbean Cinemas, you fought Rodney Bay, William Peter Boulevard, Domino's Pizza.
Oh, I've got this feeling to high-five the sun, dance in the rain, and have my scoop of fun. I'm on my way to flavor my day with something new, and I've got room for you. Let loose and live a little, get close and share a little. Give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with creamery novelty. Love life and live a little. Get close and share a little. Give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with creamery novelty.
Enjoy Creamy Novelties ice cream, distributed by Ferrens Foods. Live a little.
Getting brand new quality tires and rims for your vehicles have never been so easy. Tire Zone in the blue building next to the VG roundabout sells tires for motorcycles for as low as $180. What? But that's not all. Tire Zone also stocks tires for all types of vehicles, including 13-inch for as low as $99, 14-inch starting from $150, 15-inch starting at $185, 16-inch for as low as $195, and 17-inch starting from only $200. Why buy used tires when you can get quality brand new tires for such low prices at Tire Zone? Visit us in the blue building next to the VG roundabout or call 452-1313, 486-4459 or 724-5996. Again, 452-1313, 486-4459 or 724-5996. Email us at tirezone.slu@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Tire Zone.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with the style stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my number one store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and View Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
We love our island life, whether we're tending the garden, clearing bush for farming, or exploring the hills. But in these peaceful places, danger can lie low. Snake bites are real, and they can happen fast. When a snake bite happens, every second counts. If bitten, go immediately to the Accident and Emergency Department of the Millennium Heights Medical Complex or St. Jude Hospital. With St. Lucia Universal Health Coverage from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Nutrition, you are protected. You will receive anti-venom, medication, and laboratory tests. If required, you will undergo surgery. Your full hospitalization costs are covered. After treatment, you can access outpatient clinic review and physiotherapy. From the hills to your home, no matter where it happens, we've got your back.
Blasting your favorite jams. RCI, the Caribbean Sound. 101, number one.
TYP again. Start the thing, cause we ready for the girl there. Find yourself in the bacchanal section. Over there in the bacchanal section. Hands on your knees, roll up your bum. On my feet, I want to go in the middle. I want to go down in the middle, right there in the place where the girl and them petting waist. I tell you, in the middle, I feel like we're jamming in the middle, right there. Start the trend, see me getting on with me friend and then.
never wanted you to go. Stop trying. I can't deal with it no more. So when you call for the rain, you have to deal with the mud. When you call for the rain, you have to deal with the mud. When you call for the rain, you have to deal with the mud. When you call for the rain, you have to deal with the mud. Right now, no matter, for someone you taking good care of me. I'm getting fatter. Your storybook that I'm working on me. Bye-bye, I'm done. Just let it go, I am feeling no way. Something must run. What they from me, they can't take it away. No stress, I'm so over that. I'm blessed, so no more of that. When one bumper on, new bumper. Stop crying. I never wanted you to go. Stop trying. I can't deal with it no more. So when you call for the rain, you have to deal with the mud. When you call for the rain, you have to deal with the mud. When you call for the rain, you have to deal with the mud. When you call for the rain, you have to deal with
RCI 101 number 1. It's not what we play, it's what we play next.
Is DJ Duo sign up today? Postpaid for $55, no delay. Apply for a fiber internet plan to get the deal. 350 megabytes with 20 gigs, that's a steal. Enjoy the best of both worlds with the DG Duo plan. Mobile plus fast fiber internet go hand in hand. Connect at home, connect on the go. DG Duo is the best way to go.
Digicel, the best network powered by you. Visit your nearest Digicel store to get connected today.
101.1 and 99.1. This is Turn Up Radio.
I drink him from Nesco to Marigo. I drink him from JJ to Procile. I drink him from Labyrinth to Legacy. Bring the thing. I drink him Ramana. Happy. I drink him Ramana. Happy. I drink him rum. Hey. I drink him rum. Hey. They calling way. Alcoholics. They calling way. Drinking addicts. They calling way. Rum Jumbie. They calling way. Rum Jumbie. Doctor tell me don't drink no rum in front of the bacchanal. Doc, you mad? Doctor, you mad or what? Sutla. Take me girlfriend, take me chaval. Don't take the rum license. Doc, you mad? Doctor, you mad or what? Sutla. Don't stress me. 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 Boy, leave me alone. Don't stress me. 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 Boy, leave me alone. I drink me Ramada.
I feel a little good today, you know. Yeah, man, I feel a little good today. Today's Wednesday. I see my long lost friend today there. Yeah, man, I'm feeling good today. But in that means, let me just say good afternoon to each and everyone tuned into RCI 101.1 FM, the Caribbean sound. And you tuned into the Mix Till 6 with your boy Tickle Supreme. Yeah, man. And in that being said, let me just say that we are in a sponsored segment brought to you by Digicel from 2 until 2:30. And let me just say that two services, one smart choice. Enjoy the duo that powers your real connections. Fast fiber internet speed plus mobile postpaid, all in one powerful DG Duo bundle. So with that being said, let we taking some music and vibe with Digicel until 2:30, alright?
Don't stress me, don't stress me, don't stress me.